News? Please stop. I'm begging you. We're full.
Yeah.
We've got enough news over here. It has certainly been a week. And honestly, trying to keep up with every bit of news coming out of this new American order is not only damn near impossible, it's probably also not healthy. But we will at least try to touch upon the bigger bullet points today and also try and cover some news that has nothing to do with any of this, because I think we could all use some of that.
Yeah.
Now, for starters, it's going to be a long 4 years. We're all deeply aware of that. But what if it was a long 8 years instead?
Oh.
Sounds twice as bad if you ask me.
Yeah.
But there's a few things luckily standing in the way of that. For starters, Trump is old and doesn't lead a very healthy lifestyle. He'll be 82 at the end of this term and would be 86 if he stuck around an extra 4 years, hypothetically. But more importantly, presidents aren't allowed to serve more than 2 terms in this country. I mean, they used to be, with FDR famously getting elected 4 times in a row and serving just over 12 years before dying in office. But he's the only one who ever even thought to try that. And once he was dead, Congress quickly got to work on the 22nd Amendment, which added term limits to the presidency.
But those amendments are so pesky.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a lot of work, folks.
We're going to fix things.
Now, as great as FDR's extra-large presidency was, these days most people agree that, 8 years in office is enough. But most people does not include diehard Trump supporters who would like to see their favorite president live out the rest of his natural life as president. So it's not really any surprise that it only took a few days in this new administration before someone formally proposed tweaking the 22nd Amendment to allow Trump to run for president again in 2028. Here's CNBC. A Republican House member introduced a resolution Thursday to amend the U.S. Constitution to allow President Donald Trump and any other future president to be elected to a 3rd term in the White House. Trump has proven himself to be the only figure in modern history capable of reversing our nation's decay and restoring America to greatness. And he must be given the time necessary to accomplish that goal, said Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee, who proposed extending the current maximum of 2 elected terms.
Yeah, and here's the details, the funny little details on how that would work exactly. Ogles' resolution is tailored specifically to permit Trump to serve a 3rd term, but not to allow 3 out of the 4 living former presidents to serve 3rd terms. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than 3 times, nor be elected to any additional term after being elected to 2 consecutive terms, the amendment states. The former presidents Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama all served 2 consecutive terms, and thus would be barred from being elected to a 3rd term. But not Trump, who is the first president since Grover Cleveland in 1892 to be elected to a 2nd non-consecutive term. And listen, I got to say, very clever, sir. Very clever. Your very clever rules you've set here.
I'm sure this was put down to paper, and they said, "Oh, wait, hold on. Obama's still young enough to go back in for another term."
I mean, not that Obama would even want the job again at this point, but there's definitely lots of Dems who would be begging him to come back for a 3rd term. Not really for what he is, but more for what he represents, the before times. I want to go back.
Yeah.
And this law, the way it's written, would prevent that while allowing a 3rd Trump term.
Yes, very particularly written. Now, this is, of course, pretty alarming news.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But thankfully, this is really just one of the hundreds of Republicans in Congress trying to get Trump's attention by being a total sycophant. Amending the Constitution is actually pretty difficult, and that's for good reason. You need 2/3 of both the House and Senate to vote in favor of it. Then 3/4 of the states, 38 states in total, they all need to ratify it. Republicans currently control the House and Senate, but not nearly by 2/3. And while around 2/3 of state legislatures are currently controlled by Republicans, that's nowhere near 3/4. So it's not going to happen, at least by the current rules in place with Article 5 of the Constitution. And Article 5 could theoretically be amended, but it would face the same hurdles as changing the 22nd Amendment. Now, that's not to say that these assholes won't try to bend the Constitution to their whims in various ways over the next 4 years, but at least right now, this is thankfully just one congressman sending Trump a love letter. Though again...
A real pick-me, this Andy Ogles.
Yeah, well, again...
It literally, it's the I would have voted for Obama a 3rd time from Get Out, but for Trump and in real life.
Yeah. That congressman, by the way, is someone who we've covered before for getting caught doing a George Santos by repeatedly telling a bunch of lies about his educational and professional background, claiming to be an economist and former cop when it turns out that he's neither of those things.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Uh-huh.
It was fun when the George Santos period, that was a fun year.
Yeah.
Much funner than this year so far.
Well, with the Trump third term thing, all of this stuff is just performative because if he wanted to, and thank goodness he is actually probably physically incapable of doing so. But if he wanted to, at the end, he would just be like, nah, I think I'm just going to stay president. And far...
he tried that once, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah, but then he was kind of reaffirmed by getting reelected. It's very sketchy.
This is also an idea being planted in Trump's head that maybe he'll latch on to. It's just very funny, like less than a week into his presidency, being like, he needs 8 years.
Yeah. I don't know if I got it. We got to get Elon's friend who maps his boners through his night's sleep on the phone to figure out if I can live forever.
And, if the tragic happens, we need to upload President Trump's consciousness to a ChatGPT agent.
Yeah.
And we need to write a law that allows an AI to run the country.
Oh, God, in the perfect sci-fi world, Elon Musk downloads Trump via Neuralink into his own brain.
So he can finally have some Riz?
Yeah, and also technically I'm American. I can be the president now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, one more Trump term is still more than enough time for him to make a big old mess. And he wasted no time on day one of his term signing a flurry of executive orders to advance his agenda. Thing is, luckily, much like in his first term, a lot of these EOs seem to be blatantly unconstitutional or at least very open to legal challenges, thanks in large part to how shoddily they're written, with some even speculating that generative AI may have been used. We don't know that for sure,
but... It's a lot of writing.
It's a lot. I mean, it was a big fucking stack of shit, and obviously they had a lot of that pre-written, but a lot of people with legal expertise are like, who the hell wrote this? So, regardless of whether a human wrote it, one of Trump's EOs targeting trans and non-binary people seems to have inadvertently made everyone in the United States a woman in the eyes of the law.
All right.
He tried to de-trans America, but now everyone, including himself, is a she/her. And if you don't like it, you can get out.
That's right. That's what Trump said.
Here's Mashable explaining what we're talking about.
Entitled, Defending Women from Gender Ideology Extremism and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government.
Calm down.
Trump's executive order concerning gender identity states that the U.S. government only recognizes two sexes, male and female. It also provides explicit definitions of each, which are to be applied to all interpretations of law. Sex shall refer to an individual's immutable biological classification as either male or female, Trump's executive order declares. Female means a person belonging, at conception, to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell. Male means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the small reproductive cell. Though Trump's goal to impose a binary nature of sex may seem clear, the specific wording, technicalities, and application of his executive order are far from it.
Conception is the point when sperm and egg join, otherwise known as fertilization. Regardless of whether they have an XX, XY, or an alternate chromosome pattern, all human fetuses' sex organs are identical at conception in that they have none. Fetuses subsequently develop in the same manner as each other, regardless of their chromosomes, until approximately 6 to 7 weeks after conception, at which point the Y chromosome typically expresses itself by inducing the development of testes. If a Y chromosome does not do this, the fetus will continue to develop female genitalia. Basically, the early default configuration of a human fetus is female. If we were to assign a sex at conception as per Trump's executive order, all of them would be female.
They kind of got to do that because his supporters all are very adamant that life starts at conception, and therefore that is when your sex should be assigned.
This is very exciting for our channel specifically because for years, and I don't know how accurate YouTube's analytics are, it's been very lopsided in the viewership.
Yeah.
It's it's all boys. There's a couple girls watch it, but it's mostly boys. But now, finally, we have a 100% female audience, and I love that.
I can't wait to try so many makeup products to sell you guys.
Yeah.
Finally, free makeup, free concealer for me.
It's going to be so good for our ads. They're always trying to make us sell man stuff, but now we get to sell lady stuff, and that's cool.
Lumi instead of Mando.
That's right.
Anyways, this is obviously very silly, but it really underlines how ignorant of actual reproductive science that the right is. Not only on the topic of abortion, but also on this topic, and probably a lot of others.
A lot of them.
There's simply nothing even resembling a human being for quite a while after conception. But here they are authoritatively pretending there's microscopic dicks and vaginas the moment a sperm lands on an egg. Like they have a cartoon playing in their brain of what it's
the
like.
sperm touches the egg and then the dong shoots out. Yeah, or it doesn't.
I saw it on one of those cartoons they showed in the 70s in class. I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all real fun. We all laughed. It was great. This also, of course, underlines their total ignorance of intersex people whose chromosomes aren't a simple XX or XY and wouldn't neatly fall into their binary gender categories. A group that makes up approximately 1.7% of the population, or somewhere around 5.5 million people in this country. A lot of those people simply assume a male or female gender identity at an early age, despite not anatomically or chromosomally fitting into either box. And the simple solution is to just let them do that. But it's not clear what the hell they're supposed to do under laws like this.
Yeah. How does that, I mean, like the intersex example is the perfect one, because it's like, they don't fit into either box. So yeah, they do just assume one or the other, and technically I guess they're not, but also who the fuck cares? Mm-hmm. And it's all just very upsetting. The stuff they're trying to do to the trans community is one of many things they're trying to do, but it's just so fucking stupid and really pisses me off.
Yeah, no, it's inhumane.
Because
it's disgusting.
My stance on all of this, even from the earlier days when I was definitely like uninformed and shit, has just always been like, listen, no matter how like strange this might seem to you, like who the fuck cares? It's just people trying to live their lives and be happy. Mind your own fucking business. And that's like kryptonite to these people. They cannot mind their own fucking business.
They hear anything like this, and they're just like, they must be sitting in bathrooms waiting to strike.
Yeah, no,
it's just like, where did that come from?
It's very revealing that these people are constantly thinking about other people's genitalia. Yeah. Which I'm like, if they're thinking about trans people's genitalia, are they also thinking, like, just everyone they come across, are they imagining what they're packing down there? It's a really weird way to live. Yeah.
Well, also in the language of it, it's worded very heavily on like protecting women, which is ironic coming from this administration in particular. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. We care so much about women and their safety.
Yeah. Obviously, this is just Trump tossing a fucking steak at his supporters. Just like, we're getting rid of trans stuff.
Yeah, everyone's getting a little bit of what they wanted from his supporters are. Yeah. The rest of us, no.
No, this is awful. This is going to result in, well, certainly emotional harm, but probably physical harm to people.
No, like the actual scientists who study this are like, you are going to literally kill people. Mm-hmm. And it seems like you'd want to prevent that.
Especially people who are absolutely terrified every day to live their lives.
Yeah, trans people just have it too easy. We need to take them down a peg. Shut the fuck up. But speaking of Republicans not understanding really basic reproductive science, we've already covered one piece of troll legislation today with that term limits law, but we've got some more troll legislation for you, this time from the other side of the aisle. It's got even less of a chance of passing, but it's much more entertaining. Here's NBC News. Mississippi State Senator Bradford Blackman, a Democrat, introduced a bill this week that would seemingly ban men from masturbating or engaging in other sexual acts when they have no intent to fertilize an embryo.
Okay.
The bill, titled the Contraception Begins at Erection Act, would make it unlawful for a person to discharge genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo. It includes exceptions for sperm donation and using contraception to prevent fertilization. The bill, introduced Monday, would impose fines of $1,000 for a first offense, $5,000 for a second offense, and $10,000 for any subsequent offenses. The bill is unlikely to pass the GOP-led legislature, but if it does and is signed into law by Governor Tate Reeves, a Republican, it would go into effect in July. Get the poison out while you can, Mississippi.
Gooners rise up.
Yeah.
It continues. In a statement to NBC affiliate WLBT of Jackson, Blackman referred to the high number of state legislative bills introduced in recent years that target women's access to reproductive health care, specifically abortion and contraception. All across the country, especially here in Mississippi, the vast majority of bills relating to contraception and/or abortion focus on the woman's role when men are 50% of the equation, he wrote. This bill highlights that fact and brings the man's role into the conversation. People can get up in arms and call it absurd, but I can't say that bothers me. So yeah, it's absurd, but
it's like one of those. Okay, so by your logic,
yes,
it's a troll law.
Yeah, it's meant to stir some self-reflection in the
I imagine
laws that you're passing.
Being a Democrat in the Mississippi State Legislature, like, it's got to be brutal. and you got to have a little bit of fun sometimes.
I feel like this is one of the only tactics you could use to convince your constituents of what they're actually voting for on the other stuff that they're actually passing. Like, this is, I'm probably giving them too much credit, but yeah, this is a perfect example of controlling people's bodies.
Yeah, this is only going to work on Catholics, though. Yeah. They're the only ones that are kind of equal opportunity with this shit. Every sperm is sacred.
Now that's the problem. The Mormons that do the soaking, usually they had to pay someone to jump on the bed for them.
Pay them?
I don't know.
Looking for a jumper.
Yeah. And now they're going to have someone, because they said you can use contraception in the act.
Someone else to
put it in, and then stroke in between the two.
I didn't do anything.
Yeah. And nobody got pregnant.
Yeah.
They get creative over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot to do in Utah.
Mormon is like the most loophole-friendly religion. People are always trying to trick God.
If you can find one, they think it's very crafty.
God failed to consider.
Hey, but God made you smart enough to figure out a way to work around it, and we love you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, truly one of God's creatures. So yes, of course, you get it. They're pointing out how absurd the other laws are. It's no more absurd than the idea that the second a sperm touches an egg, that's a human being, and that getting an abortion shortly thereafter is murder.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The thing is, there's probably a minority of Republicans who'd be open to the idea. Probably Mike Johnson.
With all the anti-porn laws, it seems like they might at least be receptive to this.
So hopefully the fact that it's a Democrat who proposed it means it's rejected. Because if one of them came up with this idea themselves, we wouldn't be so sure. Maybe it would pass.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be careful with these troll laws. This one's a little too close.
We're gonna put top men on the case. The priests are gonna be looking in to make sure that there's no funny business.
Yeah. You can always trust a priest.
Yes, so leave your doors unlocked.
Yes. Anyways, in some other Trump news that's really not fun in any way, it's just news. Little Marco Rubio, our new Secretary of State, just ended nearly all U.S. foreign aid, with one very predictable exception. Can you guess what the exception is? I bet you can. Here's NPR. Virtually all aid programs around the world that depend on U.S. funding will need to halt their operations because of a State Department memo issued on Friday to stop work. The internal memo, obtained by NPR, expands on President Trump's executive order issued on Monday to freeze foreign assistance for 90 days. The new instructions mean these programs will likely have to furlough or lay off employees and cease operations until a review determines whether they align with President Donald Trump's foreign policy agenda. Within 85 days, the government-wide comprehensive review of all foreign assistance shall be completed, and a report shall be produced to the Secretary of State for his consideration and recommendation to the President, according to the memo, which was signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Exempt from the order, aid to Israel and Egypt, as well as emergency food aid.
And yeah, first of all, in case you think this is at least saving the U.S. a ton of money, it's not. Foreign aid makes up about 1% of the U.S. budget. It's a drop in the bucket. So it's not going to have any effect here, but it'll have serious effects elsewhere, particularly Ukraine, which is apparently on its own for at least the next 3 months.
Yeah, it doesn't explicitly mention Ukraine at all. It's just by omission. We're left to conclude that, I guess they still have some stuff that's already been signed coming their way, but 90 days is a long time.
Yeah. But it's not just Ukraine. The U.S. funds health programs around the world that treat serious diseases and provide immunizations. That's a net good for the world, considering the way that diseses can spread.
I thought we all learned about this.
Yes.
We learned quite a lesson about this not too long ago.
Infectious diseases, they don't really care about the borders.
Yeah.
They can travel all across the world.
Can't build a wall to keep polio out.
But those programs have all been halted. It also halts funding to programs focused on education, development, job training, anti-corruption, and security assistance. And it's the kind of thing that, sure, you'd want to audit on a regular basis to ensure the money's being spent properly, but no, just shutting it all down without prior notice, too.
Yeah. And it's going to save us a whopping, less than 1%, because the 1% includes the aid to Israel that they're
which I'm sure
keeping on.
Certainly a lot of it.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So that sucks. What else is there to say? But here's a tiny bit of good news, and we promise this is the only time that Elon Musk is going to come up today. Yeah. Just this once. So Trump's presidency so far hasn't been really all that different from what you'd expect after living through his first term. But one key difference is the willingness of America's most prominent billionaires to just line up and lick the boot in exchange for influence over how the government is run. Elon's definitely the biggest example of this, with him and his various minions reportedly having tremendous influence over Trump's transition team, and Elon literally having a job on the Doge team. Yeah. But Bezos and Zuckerberg and the rest getting up on stage with Trump on Inauguration Day and also very publicly lending their support to him has really solidified.
And money.
Yeah, and lots of money. It's really solidified that this is a regime by and for the oligarchy. And good news, most people aren't too keen on that, which you would expect, but the polling shows that, yeah, even people who voted for Trump were like, yeah, a little too much Elon for me.
Yeah,
which is nice.
It's a little bit of the same thing that we got a peek into the world after what happened in November with that Italian boy, where everyone was just kind of like, I mean...
That good Italian boy.
So yes, this is very telling that it crosses party lines that people just do not like billionaires.
It is kind of like, we've been so, like, especially with his ownership of Twitter, it's like, it's very hard to get a real gauge on how liked or disliked Elon is. Mm-hmm. And this polling is pretty reassuring. Here's the AP with their new polling.
A new poll from the Associated Press, NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, shows that only about 3 in 10 U.S. adults strongly or somewhat approve of President Trump's creation of an advisory body on government efficiency, which Musk is helming. About 4 in 10 disapprove, while the rest were neutral or didn't know enough to say. The poll was conducted before Vivek Ramaswamy announced he would no longer be involved in the group. As the plans take more concrete shape, the poll shows that Americans are ambivalent about some of the changes that Trump and his team have mentioned in the past few months, including eliminating large numbers of federal jobs and moving federal agencies outside Washington. Substantial shares don't have an opinion, indicating that there's plenty of room for opinion to shift in either direction.
Musk was a prominent part of Trump's inauguration ceremonies, given a seat inside the Capitol Rotunda for the event, then speaking at a rally shortly after Trump was sworn in and doing whatever he did up there. Yeah. About 1/3 of Americans have a favorable view of Musk, a billionaire and the world's richest person, which is down slightly from December. Americans' views of Musk and Trump have a fair amount of overlap. About 8 in 10 Americans share the same view of both men, whether positive or negative. About half of Americans have an unfavorable view of both Musk and Trump. Some Americans may also be wary of Musk's prominence. U.S. adults broadly think it's a bad thing if the president relies on billionaires for advice about government policy, according to the poll. About 6 in 10 U.S. adults say this would be a very or somewhat bad thing, while only about 1 in 10 call it a very or somewhat good thing, and about 3 in 10 are neutral.
It is worth pointing out that this poll was conducted before the inauguration, and therefore before Elon got up on stage and, he did 2 Nazi salutes back-to-back on live television. I mean, say what you want.
That's what he did.
That's what he did. Yeah. We assume that might affect public opinion, but then again, the window shifts with Vivek leaving. Everyone's like, that guy who called me lazy.
Uh-huh. Yep. Why does he hate the whites?
Meanwhile, other polling by the AP indicates that mass deportations of people who haven't been convicted of crimes, ending birthright citizenship, pardoning January 6th rioters, leaving the Paris Climate Agreement, and increasing oil drilling are all more unpopular than they are popular. Polling from Reuters double confirms a lot of this, and also indicates extremely lukewarm support for buying Greenland or retaking control of the Panama Canal. Everyone's just like, who cares? Like,
yeah, why would I want that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The eggs are $10.
Yeah. And they're getting more expensive.
So while a lot of folks, particularly in the media, are happy to pretend that his agenda has a popular mandate just because he won the election, that's not really the case. And recognizing this is pretty key to not going completely insane.
Yeah. It's been a weird week. Obviously, it's the honeymoon period, but the swiftness with which, especially the Washington Post, which Jeff Bezos owns, to at least in their headline department, I mean, the articles themselves are still good and pretty straightforward, but the headlines are very cutting Trump a whole lot of slack in ways that seem almost misleading, because people mostly just read the headlines.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are more aware of it now too, just because of that. It was happening so frequently on a day-to-day basis in the most recent election, because it was the second time around, where they're just like, here's what Trump's saying, and here's what like CNN Washington Post or New York Times are saying about what he said.
Yeah, just being very generous. It's like, no, he just said some dumb, crazy shit that popped into his head, and you're treating this like...
The rise of the term sane washing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough politics for now. Bye-bye. Let's shift gears now and look at some news that's a bit more local and also, unfortunately, has to do with one of the other terrible things that happened in this very terrible month, the LA wildfires. We've covered a lot of stories over the years about the strange phenomenon of stolen cop valor, in which people who are definitely not actual cops spend loads of money on cars, uniforms, and equipment to live out their fantasy and deceive others, despite the fact that becoming a real cop really isn't all that hard.
All you have to do is fail out of high school.
Yeah. Up till now, up till now, we've never really heard of anyone trying to steal firefighter valor, but, you know, with people increasingly viewing firefighters as more heroic than cops, especially here in LA these past few weeks, it does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
So here's ABC7 with the story.
2 people from Oregon were arrested for reportedly impersonating firefighters and using an illegitimate fire truck in the Palisades fire evacuation zone, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department announced Sunday. According to LASD, Los Angeles police officers patrolling the area on Saturday noticed a fire truck that did not appear to be legitimate. Sheriff's deputies then made contact with the individuals in the fire truck as they attempted to enter an evacuation zone. The occupants claimed to be from Roaring River Fire Department in Oregon, an agency deputies said was not legitimate. Deputies also noticed that the individuals were both wearing turnout gear and CAL FIRE t-shirts. They also had helmets and radios in their possession. Both suspects, Dustin Nell, 31, and Jennifer Nell, 44, were arrested for impersonating a firefighter and entering an evacuation zone. The truck, which was purchased at an auction, was also impounded. Dustin Nell has a criminal history in Oregon for criminal mischief and arson.
Unless,
The arson one's shifty, but I believe that this was attempting some looting.
Yeah, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems the local justice system here was understandably caught a bit off guard here, because who the hell does that?
It's very elaborate, especially to steal what?
That's
Everything's
the thing.
burned.
Yeah, like impersonating a cop, I mean, really just...
And I guess the evacuation zones, yes, there's houses that people have evacuated from, their stuff inside, but still, to go through all of that work with a fake fire truck, too, is diabolical.
I mean, impersonating firefighter is apparently a crime, but it's not really a crime that ever actually happens, and it's unclear what potential penalties it entails.
No, actually, it happens all the time. When I get on to Denny's and get my Grand Slam, and I get that firefighter's discount.
Yeah. See that sticker on my window of my car out there?
And there are no penalties, because you can just lie to people. I'm kidding.
You can.
I absolutely do not do that.
It's also unclear just what the hell these two were planning. I mean, were they simply trying to soak up some of the glory of the folks who actually did risk their lives fighting these infernos? Or were they just using this as a cover to try and loot whatever's left of the burned out mansions in the Palisades?
Yeah,
probably that.
The evac zone has houses with stuff in it, but like, it's just a very strange attempt at
Seems
looting.
like a lot to, I don't know. It's very strange, but at least we have learned one thing. You can apparently buy a fire truck at an auction, and they'll just give it to you if you put up the money. You got to figure out where to park the damn thing, but it's yours.
The dark comedy version of this is that the fire does break out, and they're like, "Oh, thank God, there's a truck here already.
Get them
I
back
got the," and they just have it, and they don't know how anything works.
Yeah,
they're trying their best, and the criminals became heroes that day. But no, that didn't happen. Actually, they just got arrested.
No, they just got arrested.
Yeah, and having arson on your record in a fire zone probably not going to work out too well for you.
Yeah.
Moving on, though, to some news from our neighbor to the north, and soon to be our neighbor no longer.
Enemy to the north.
No, our neighbor no longer. They will be us very soon. We will consume them.
They're considering joining the EU.
Like a mother consuming the child, we will consume them. We're talking about Canada, the 51st state.
Stop.
Where it is, of course, very, very cold at this time of year, but it's also cold everywhere right now.
Not here.
Yeah, not here's fine. But in Louisiana, they got those airboats out on the ice and snow. Looking cool.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's very relevant to the story, the freezing temperatures, because if you ever spent time in below freezing temperatures, you know that skin can very easily get stuck to surfaces. This was famously depicted in the movie A Christmas Story, when a kid gets triple dog dared to lick a pole and his tongue instantly gets stuck. And this next story is very similar to that scene, just with a different body part. And we apologize in advance for citing TMZ here, but they do have the most comprehensive and descriptive coverage of it that we've seen so far. So
I might do the voice. The
Okay.
TMZ voice.
We got it, guy. here you go.
Getting your tongue stuck to a frozen pole sounds painful, but it ain't got nothing on this guy, because a poor unfortunate soul got his whole penis put on ice.
Poor unfortunate soul.
And we've got the pics to prove it. TMZ has obtained exclusive photos from outside a bar in Alberta, Canada, in which first responders are working to wrench a patron of the establishment off the sidewalk. This one ain't for the faint of heart, or crotch for that matter. The man's member is basically glued to the unforgiving ice, and he's not coming off despite all the others pulling with all their might. We've blurred the photos here, but trust us, this gentleman's privates are clearly stretched before snapping right back to the ice. First responders seem to be pulling pretty dang hard right here, nearly performing an impromptu circumcision on the street.
That is very similar to like watching in the early 2000s, late 90s, real TV.
Yeah, I remember real TV. We need to bring it back.
TMZ needs to do a break off with stuff like with real news like this. I don't care what Heidi Montag's up to.
Yeah.
Give me guys stuck with dick in sidewalk. I'll watch that all day.
Do you remember, I mean, the smoking gun still exists, but they had a TV show for a while.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
They had like Tanya Harding was one of the panelists.
Yeah, back in like the Spike TV days, you could really...
that was a good show.
You could really launch stuff. It continues. Police in Alberta...
Wee woo.
Police in Alberta tell us the man in the clip got intoxicated and began arguing with people inside East Village Pub and Eatery in Fort McMurray early on Sunday, January 12th. Cops say the dispute spilled into the street, where the guy's pants fell down while fighting with the bar's patrons. During the confrontation, the dude toppled to the ground and his penis attached to the ice.
Uh-oh.
First responders managed to detach his unit without injuring him before he was arrested. He was not charged, according to police. We're not sure exactly what the cops arrested him for or how authorities peeled his penis off the ice, but it sounds like there's not too much blistering on his little guy. This is the scene from Christmas Story or Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
But it's his penis instead.
It's his penis on a sidewalk, outside of a bar, in the middle of the night, surrounded by people all watching you. And people who are already mad at you because you're being a drunk asshole.
And you're just there laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when it finally snaps, it rolls up like one of those old picture things.
Yeah.
The window.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a cummerbund.
Maybe it's temporarily going to be a little longer now.
Yeah, it's going to be a great story specifically at that bar.
It's actually the best thing that's happened to me. Pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it used to be, a different part of Canada, they got the guy's toe up there. We got this guy's foreskin.
Yeah.
We peel it right off the sidewalk.
So this is just about the most humiliating and painful thing we can imagine happening to a person. Luckily, it sounds like it was also pretty karmic, too.
Yeah.
Not that anyone deserves this to happen to them, but, out of all the people that it happened to,
Couldn't happen.
I'm okay with this one. We would assume something like this would have eyewitnesses telling their stories all across the internet. But so far, all we've found is this comment on the r/Alberta subreddit. I was there. I was having a smoke outside when this happened. He was apparently pushing one of the staff members inside and then tried to fight another patron outside. This I saw. And then took his shirt off as he was pushing the patron around. 2 bouncers tackled him to the ground and another put him in an arm bar. Somewhere in the chaos, his shoes came off too.
Uh-oh.
The whole bar was outside at this point, cheering the bouncers on. And the lady that was with him, probably his girlfriend, was yelling at and flipping off the crowd, including me and my friends directly. I'm not sure how his pants ended up falling down. He was probably trying to escape. But he, indeed, did get his meat obelisk stuck on the ice. The cops ended up coming and taking him away. Crazy night.
Gosh. Woo!
It's like embarrassing enough when your pants fall down. That's like an old cartoon trope. It's just like how
you fall
embarrassing.
down and get your dick stuck to the
Pants
ice.
fall down, underwear falls down, you slip and fall, your dick gets stuck to the ice.
You're already getting carried out of a fucking venue.
Yeah.
Woo!
Woo!
Yes, you're never gonna live that down. And that's what's crazy about this is before the internet, this story would have been the thing of legend.
Yeah.
You would have been
Urban
hearing about
legend.
this at every bar in Canada.
You hear about that guy got his dick stuck to the sidewalk?
Oh, Jim was there. He'll tell you all about it.
Yeah. And the story would have also gotten crazier and crazier.
Yeah. Had to saw his balls off. Whole thing had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mounted it on the bar. You got to go over to Alberta to see it, though.
It's especially funny, like, he took his shirt off and his shoes fell off. So this guy would have been fucking freezing. Like, it was like 25 degrees that night.
It would have been funnier if it was slippery. And he's whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah.
I did see, now this is very sad. I don't condone watching it, but it did come up in my feed. And it was very sad. It was like something like this, but the guy definitely didn't deserve it. Oh. It was like a guy at an oil changing place, and he like made a mistake, so there's oil on the ground, and the guy's like filming his mistake, and he's like, oh, come on, man, don't film that. And he slips in the oil, and he starts like doing that, and he's just crawling towards the camera. And he's like, you're not gonna post that online, are you?
Oh.
And it's like right on it.
Don't do that.
I was almost crying by the end of it. I was like, this is the meanest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Why is this in my feed?
It's very funny, but also, come on.
Awful. I clicked not interested.
Yeah.
Mark, not interested.
But back to America now, with more stupidity, specifically Florida.
Oh, good.
We've seen a lot of Florida men invent new ways to be insane weirdos over the years, but this week's Florida man brought us something brand new and very, very gross. Now, you may have noticed that over the past few years, one of the quack health trends that's become popular, particularly among conservative men, is the carnivore diet, where you exclusively or primarily consume meat and other animal byproducts. Nutritionists advise against this for very obvious reasons, and it's also not a diet with any historical basis, but people keep on doing it and claiming that it's changed their lives and made them feel so much healthier.
I got tiger blood.
The guy in this story definitely can't make that claim anymore about his health, though. Oof. Here's Ars Technica.
What could go wrong with eating an extremely high-fat diet of beef, cheese, and sticks of butter? Well, for one thing, your cholesterol levels could reach such stratospheric levels that lipids start oozing from your blood vessels, forming yellowish nodules on your skin. That was the disturbing case of a man in Florida who showed up at a Tampa hospital with a 3-week history of painless yellow eruptions on the palms of his hands, soles of his feet, and elbows. His case was published today in JAMA Cardiology. The man, said to be in his 40s, told doctors that he had adopted a carnivore diet 8 months prior. His diet included between 6 pounds and 9 pounds of cheese, sticks of butter, and daily hamburgers that had additional fat incorporated in them. Since taking on this brow-raising food plan, he claimed his weight dropped, his energy levels increased, and his mental clarity improved. Yeah.
Meanwhile, his total cholesterol level exceeded 1,000 milligrams per deciliter.
Woo!
For context, an optimal total cholesterol level is under 200 milligrams per deciliter, while 240 milligrams per deciliter is considered the threshold for high.
That's a lot more than high.
More than 4 times that.
He's blowing 4 times the legal limit.
Woo!
Yeah.
Cardiologists noted that prior to going on his fatty diet, his cholesterol had been between 210 milligrams per deciliter to 300 milligrams per deciliter. The cardiologist diagnosed the man with xanthelasma, a condition in which excess blood lipids ooze from blood vessels and form localized lipid deposits. The escaped lipids would normally be taken up by roaming white blood cells called macrophages, but in cases with xanthelasma, the amount of lipids is too large for the macrophages, which turn into foam cells with the excess cholesterol, leading to visible deposits. And yeah, look at this shit. The man literally has fat trying to escape through the lines in his hands.
Hey! Butterfingers!
Let me out. Literally, Butterfingers. It's so fucking gross.
Yeah.
It's also wildly unhealthy.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have everyone's trying to keep their cholesterol down. This man is 40. It's an insane diet to take on at the age of 40 when cholesterol really starts to become
the big one's right around the corner.
Yeah. But I mean, our biggest question, whether he decided to maybe try eating some vegetables after this medical incident, remains unanswered in the reporting. Maybe he turned around and just kept on doing it.
If he probably shit like crazy after getting 1 ounce of vegetable in him or fiber or anything like that.
It's just such an insane, we're not designed to eat like that.
But what if we were and nobody tried it yet?
This shit, these people are all idiots and they think in caveman times, people were just eating meat all day and all the historic evidence points to their meat consumption being less than just even the average person today.
This just proves, Elliot, that the brain truly is the strongest muscle in the body because the brain is making people like this believe that it's actually helping.
He's got fucking butter coming out his ears.
Yeah.
Ugh, God.
Hey, no, I'll just take the popcorn. No need to put anything on it. I got it right here. Hold on. Just let me scratch my hand open really quick.
You want some butter on that popcorn? He just makes a fist, just dripping down.
Yeah.
Ugh, God.
There we go. But moving on now to this week's next weird guy who comes to us via a letter to the New York Times ethical advice columnist. And we will read his letter in full with a voice that is appropriate to the words.
Yeah, a voice that's like, what did I say?
Hey,
what?
What? What is the rule about looking at women in public? As a red-blooded male, I would like to stare. But of course, that's rude and possibly antisocial.
Possibly.
In the past, when I've taken a quick glance and got caught, I was given sharp, disapproving looks from the women, and often by some bystanders. I've always been a loner, so I didn't always get clued in on proper etiquette.
Well, I don't know what the rules are.
When I married, I asked male coworkers what to do about looking at women, considering my new status. One said, you gotta smell the roses along the way. I took that to heart and continued to ogle women. This eventually led to my divorce. When women wear tight pants, it seems unfair. They are very sexy, but men are not allowed to look. What do women prefer in this situation? I want to do the right thing. Name withheld.
Please don't publish my name.
Don't put in the newspaper that I was a total
Or maybe
fucking
he's like,
creep.
please publish my name. And they're like, we're not going to.
We're going to do you a favor.
Yeah. So this guy really likes ogling women. And despite
Buy some sunglasses.
myriad signs that he shouldn't do that, including his wife divorcing him over
He
it.
must have been like panting like a dog.
And also, he's just like, yeah, the women don't like it, but also like bystanders are like, hey, fucking, what are you doing? Stop it. Like, you know how much you have to be like ogling someone for just everyone around being like, bro, stop.
There's this clip of Family Feud where this guy like reacts to some boobs and he barks like a dog. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So that's what I imagine this guy did. Like he's just a dog on a leash. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's like a Jim Carrey from The Mask.
He's just losing it.
Wow.
Just tongue hits the table. Awooga.
Sunglasses would be a good idea.
Yeah, probably
But,
some sunglasses.
now, for whatever reason, the columnist here didn't just reply with, fucking stop it, you weird pervert, Jesus, and actually responded at length with a charitable explanation of why men staring at women they don't know in public in a sexual nature is frowned upon in polite society, something this man should know considering he's well past marriage age, been around a long time.
No, he's looking at him for the brains of it.
Yeah. But we're not going to read that part because hopefully none of you assholes watching this need that explained to you. It's just don't do it. And if you're going to do it, wear sunglasses. And even then, you know,
You're a fucking creep.
even then, look out of the corner of your eye.
Yeah,
Don't just stare like this.
that advice is if this guy is like physically incapable of not fucking checking out everyone that walks by, you got it for the sake of everyone around you. Cover those eyes up.
Cover those eyes. Keep your hands where people can see them. Don't start drooling or panting.
No putting your hands in your pockets.
Don't wipe your forehead with a handkerchief.
And actually just walk around like this.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
It seems like a very easy situation to avoid, but this man's just constantly getting yelled at for just being a fucking horny dog out there in society.
It is so bad that not only the people who he's been staring at have noticed, but the people closest
Everyone
to him,
around
his
is like,
ex-wife,
just
like, stop! You're making a scene.
Anyway, we got the weirdest news headlines in the world coming up in the headlines half of the show.
We gotta hurry up. This is already 40 minutes long.
But first, we gotta let you know that this episode is sponsored by Public Rec, the makers of our favorite pants in the world, the Daymaker pants, the perfect intersection of comfort and quality. Let's be real, guys. Wearing uncomfortable clothes just isn't worth it anymore. Why settle for stiff, restricting fabric when you can have something that looks sharp and feels as comfy as your favorite sweats? This year, make the switch to Public Rec, where comfort rules. Public Rec isn't just about pants, it's about making sure that you stay comfortable no matter what your day throws at you. They have so many great style options that are perfect for just hanging around the house, drinking beers on the golf course, or even when you need to impress the boss in the office. Whatever pants you choose, you'll be blown away by how comfortable they are.
Hey boss, check out these pants.
Oh, those are some very formal pants. He doesn't know they're sweatpants.
How about a raise? And the boss says yes, Elliot.
Yeah.
There you go. For a limited time, our viewers can get 20% off their entire order with our code WEEKLYWEIRD, all one word, at publicrec.com. That is 20% off when you use promo code WEEKLYWEIRD at publicrec.com. And usually when you order comfortable pants, you only get to pick from small, medium, large, and extra large sizes. But with Public Rec pants, You get to select the exact width and length that you need, whether you're a 30 by 30, a short king, or a 44 by 36.
A big king.
You can find your perfect fitting pants. Public Rec pants come in so many unique colorways, from navy, dark olive, and stone gray. You're sure to find the right color for you. Their proprietary blend of performance materials provides the perfect combination of breathability and stretch while still holding its form. You'll never want to take them off.
Public Rec not only has the most comfortable pants ever made, but they have a huge selection of high-quality, everyday premium styles. You can revamp your entire wardrobe with their perfect-fitting polos, shorts, and hoodies. Make your New Year's resolution a comfortable one. No more pants that pinch, tug, or annoy. For a limited time, you can get 20% off at Public Rec by using code WeeklyWeird at checkout. Just head to publicrec.com, use code WeeklyWeird, and you're all set. Oh, and when they ask you how you found them, be sure to mention our show. It really helps us out. Find your perfect fit and never compromise on comfort again. Public Rec, where comfort rules.
All right, time to get into the weirdest, craziest, wildest, most insane stories and headlines from around the week, starting with...
Champagne sales sink because people don't want to celebrate.
Sacre.
Will someone please think of the champagne,
economy.
the champagne people? They're having a. I feel like we've seen this same headline many times over the last decade.
Nobody drinking champagne.
And I think they're kind of right that there's people don't want to celebrate, but also that's such a boomer thing of just oh, time to pop the champagne, get out the cigars.
Yeah,
I don't know anyone.
It's like an overindulgence for no reason because no one. People, I guess, do like the taste of champagne, but it's not for that in 90% of scenarios.
Yeah.
It's for toasting, celebrating, making the noise.
I only ever have champagne at weddings, and it's just the one little glass that everyone gets for the toast. And half the time I don't even finish it because I don't really like champagne. And it's not...
Well, especially now, if you're doing a celebration, like a wedding or anything like that, you can just... There's other options now. You don't have to pop the champagne.
It's not. I mean, I'm a bit of a wino. I'm a member of many wine clubs. I have too much wine. I don't drink it fast enough. It's a real problem. I'm a kind of a wine hoarder, and I like drinking wine. The idea of popping open a bottle of champagne, just on any, just
DJ Khaled would do it.
I guess. It just would never occur to me. You know what I'm feeling tonight? Some champagne.
Oh, yes.
What? Because also that's the one, once you pop it, you have to drink the whole thing at once. And
you can't stop.
You get all gassy and gives you a headache.
I got enough of that with my Topo Chicos. No thanks.
My advice to the wine industry, the champagne wine industry, invent something new.
Yeah.
This one,
quit resting on your laurels.
Your day may have passed. I'm sorry. You gotta adapt.
And by the way, the United States will be acquiring the Champagne region in France.
Well, we don't recognize. Actually, no. I think we did finally, at one point in the last couple of years, finally adopt the Champagne resolution from the Treaty of Versailles.
Okay.
Or wait, no, we didn't. It's just all of the wine companies in the U.S. realized that to be taken seriously, they should just voluntarily stop calling it champagne, call it sparkling white wine. At least the legit vineyards are just okay, whatever. If you know about wine, you know that you're not supposed to do that. So if we do that, people aren't going to take us seriously.
Well, based on this, people don't care about champagne. So
they
let's
don't
move
care
on
either
to the
way.
next headline. Scotland's largest haggis maker creating new recipe to meet U.S. rules.
Finally, the U.S. demand for a bunch of fucking sheep guts
stuffed into
a sheep's stomach can be met.
Yeah.
The people have been salivating over haggis for, I guess it's been banned for 50 years, which is crazy. If I feel like you can eat damn near anything in this country.
I was going to say, if it's not meeting the current U.S. rules, then I don't know.
It was the 70s, they banned, it's the sheep lungs. All the other stuff, the hearts and that's all fine. Yeah. But there's something about the sheep lungs that the FDA, they're no. But
I've sampled so much stuff around the world, pretty much everything except for bugs. And haggis, when I was in Scotland, did not try it. Refused to.
I mean, I would try if I was there and
it was prepared like street food, you wouldn't know really. It was kind of done on a griddle and fried. I mean, and then stuffed back in.
When it's on the plate, it looks fine. It's more, the horrifying thing is when it's still in the big stomach and it just looks like a giant cyst.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I've eaten a lot of weird shit, and I'm actually pretty cool with eating the offal, the parts of the animal that would otherwise go to waste. I think that's fine. But
that's how we got chicken wings, and now they're more expensive than any other part.
That's right.
Passenger clings onto outside of 175 mile per hour German train after doors shut him out on cigarette break. 99999.
Those trains are very fun. Like you ride on them, and it's incredible because not only are they super fast, but they're smooth.
Yeah.
But
maglev, right? Is this one?
They're not maglev. This is the Intercity Express ICE trains, and I don't think they're maglev. They're just really fucking fast. And you can't smoke on these trains anymore because of woke. And so this guy, like usually on these trains when they stop at a station, there's like a 5-minute period where people are, because everyone has luggage and stuff. So this guy stepped out onto the platform for a smoke, and then would have had to have ignored repeated warnings that the train's about to take off. And then he's like, oh no, my luggage is still on there. So he just jumped onto the outside of this bullet train and held on for like 20 minutes or so before someone like on the freeway was like, call the police. There's a man on the side of that train.
Brad Pitt is trying to break into that train.
And yes, he was arrested.
I mean,
but he lived.
At that point, I would be a relief to be arrested.
Yeah, take me away.
I would be frozen solid, like in my grip position.
Oh yeah, because it's cold right now.
Well, no, just from the death grip alone of like being that tight and holding on that hard.
It's also chilly outside.
And going that fast.
Take me to jail in the slowest police car you've got.
Mm-hmm. We gotta thaw him off. His dick is frozen to the train. That
would be, I mean, you're already hanging onto this train for dear life in a very like poorly thought out move. And then, oh my God, the wind pulled my pants down. God. Oh no, my penis is flopping in the wind. Oh God, it's stuck to the outside of the train. What do I do?
All right, buddy, we got you. Let go. I did let go. He did let go, sir.
All right, pull him off. No. Ah!
Ow! It hits him really hard. It's funny for everyone.
Yeah.
The whole train's laughing.
Everyone except him.
Yeah. We were all upset because we didn't make it to our destination, but then we saw this guy get hit with his own dick.
Yeah.
Totally made the vacation.
Hit him in his own face.
Yeah. Rake stepped his own penis.
Progresso launches Soup Drops, a hard candy that's soup you can suck on.
Suck on this. I don't mind this. This is fine. It's a crafty little marketing idea.
Yeah, it's some viral marketing. All the food companies are doing this shit lately where they're like, let's come up with something stupid.
Yeah, really get the name out there.
And get the press release out there. This one, I'm just really curious, is it sweet? Like, is there sugar added, or does it literally just taste like chicken soup?
Yeah, probably.
Because that's kind of nasty.
If it's Progresso, it's a pretty big conglomerate. Part of a conglomerate. I assume it's just chemicals that make it taste like that.
Yeah, I mean, this would be cool.
Like it's a Werther's original, but it's like beef stew or something.
This would be cool to have around if you're around kids a lot, because they're always asking for candy. They're always asking if you got games on your phone, and now you can be like, yeah, I got candy, kid.
Yeah.
Here, have one of these.
Yeah.
And then you get to watch them just be disgusted because like not only is it gross, but they're children, so they still got all their taste buds. And it's going to be just a truly awful experience for them.
Yeah.
And you get to say, and that's why you don't ask for candy. The lesson is you don't ask for candy. And that kid will learn a lesson that day.
Or he becomes hopelessly addicted to soup.
Yeah.
Hello, mother. What's the soup du jour? Oh, you've been at your grandmother's again, haven't you?
Jeez.
Ugh. Anti-aging fanatic Brian Johnson slammed for gross post tracking son's erection data.
This guy's got to stop.
Yeah.
Someone needs to stop him.
Yeah, this is not the behavior of a
he
mentally fit person.
He treats this shit like it's normal. And
yeah, I know. It's bizarre.
He posted, I guess there's an app where you attach some sort of device, some contraption to your dick while you sleep, and it keeps track of like your erections and blood flow and shit. And it's bad enough that he's doing this for himself, but his son, Talmadge Johnson, also is doing it for comparison's sake. And he's like, well, my son still gets like 5% more erect at night. So goals to have. And people are like, why are you measuring your 19-year-old son's dick?
Is this how you really want to spend your one life on this planet?
It is how he wants to.
It's bizarre.
It's baffling. He could be doing literally anything, but instead he's turned his own life into a science experiment.
And also, like, here's the thing. like, this is weird even behind closed doors, this specific aspect of it. But even so, fine, whatever. This guy's a freak that wants to live forever and he's doing some weird science shit. The fact that he shoves his way into every like news cycle, by his putting out press releases and doing everything, the fact that he wants people to know about this is even more disturbing.
There is that aspect of it. Every billionaire only wants attention. It's the only thing
they can't get.
Yeah, but what is the deal with guys whose last name is Johnson and weird bonds with their sons over what their penises are up to?
Because their last name is Johnson. It's a euphemism for schlong.
Mike Johnson in Congress, him and his son, they got like a tattletale app on their phones to see if the other one's looking at porn-a-rooney.
Yeah.
And now Brian Johnson monitoring his son's erections on a fucking app. It's like we gotta do something about it.
It's all in the name. Johnson.
And then President Lyndon Johnson
had a big hammer too.
A huge fucking hog, and he would just like have it hanging to like intimidate senators and shit. Yeah, called it Jumbo.
Yeah.
And as a power move, he'd just be hanging dong.
And of course you have the famous 90s brand Big Johnson.
Yeah.
Where, every normal day-to-day activity could be turned into a sexual experience.
Waiting for Gen Z to bring back Big Johnson.
Big Johnson. What are we talking about? Anyways, next headline.
Stripe accidentally sent an image of a duck when notifying some employees they were getting laid off.
Well, okay, this softens the blow a little bit, but I'd like to know about my severance, please.
Not even a photo of a duck, like a little cartoon, like clip art duck.
Yeah, it looked kind of AI-ish too.
Like, please see attached.
Wow. Says it all, doesn't it?
Okay, well, I was pretty bummed out about losing my job, but at least I got this cartoon duck.
5 years, and all I got is this cartoon duck and a good luck, see you later? Yeah. I don't remember saying good luck.
Yeah,
that sucks.
But hey, at least you got this duck. Here's a duck in your trying time.
One duck, please.
Yep.
Now, if you ever get fired again and you don't get a duck, you're going to be very upset.
Yeah, where's my duck? Not even a duck.
Not even a duck.
United plane hits coyote during takeoff at Chicago O'Hare Airport. FAA investigating. I love coyotes.
Yeah.
I don't like that they eat people's pets, but they didn't ask for us all to move into their land. They're doing what they can, and I just really admire how fearless they are.
Yeah, and how adaptable they are.
They, any other animal you think would just see gigantic airplanes and be like, I'm just going to avoid that area. I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to stick to the woods. But a coyote is like, you know what? There might be some food around here.
Some animal expert is going to know that I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. But I would assume that even a human, but specifically a coyote, cannot even understand the scale and speed at which a plane is approaching. If you were a human on the runway and all of a sudden a plane was coming at you, you wouldn't even have the time to analyze.
Depends what part of the takeoff it is.
It's like when people get hit by trains. Like they don't understand the speed and the power and the size until you're right there.
That's a good point.
So coyotes, and I know I'm not doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, I'm assuming, although this is hijinks in line with the famous Warner Brothers coyote. Where was the road runner?
Yeah.
Flying the plane, most likely.
Yeah, probably. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep. Is it waving out the window as it flies away?
Yeah. A fucking anvil fell on his head, and then he got hit by an airplane.
And then he sprung up like an accordion and started walking away. What are you going to do?
I'm surprised because all these airports, especially the big ones like O'Hare, they got falconers.
Yeah.
They got falconers. I don't know if those falconers have normal-sized dicks or surgically enhanced dicks, but they got their own falconers. And I feel like, I don't know, I guess coyotes might not be afraid of falcons.
Yeah, well.
But the falcons are trained to harass any animal that comes through. This coyote, the least fucks given of any coyote, and he paid for it with his life.
Should have sent a roadrunner.
Yeah.
Peeing is contagious among chimps, and I would say humans as well.
Well, yeah, that's the implication here, is that among primates in general.
It's like yawning.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something about when another, and particularly males, when another male pees, you want to do a little pissing yourself.
Yeah.
I guess this is true of women too. They're always going to the bathroom together.
It's for safety mostly, I believe.
No, I think it's because their pee cycles are lining up. When you're friends with someone, your pee cycles, they line up.
No. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like this only happens, it does happen in public because typically, like when you're hanging out, it's like, oh, it's the second quarter. I guess we're all going to go piss. So everyone gets synced up that way.
Yeah, well, they're doing it.
It's the fifth inning. Time to go take a piss.
The chimps are doing it too.
Yeah. Then we all wait there together.
Mm-hmm. Hold hands.
And you can just feel the heat off of everyone. It's a real communal experience. Yeah.
Japanese aquarium cheers up lonely sunfish with cardboard cutouts of people.
They used, it was Korea that did this, but it would be funny if they used all the stand-ins during COVID that they had for the baseball games.
That was funny.
I think Japan probably did it too. So they got some cardboard cutouts there.
Yeah. Well, they're renovating this aquarium, and I mean, you think about it. If you've been to an aquarium, I love aquariums. Went to the Long Beach one recently, or not that recent, but very cool. But yeah, it never occurs to you. Yeah, those tanks not very big, probably pretty boring for those animals. Yeah. And they probably do occupy a lot of their time just observing people through the glass.
Yeah.
So when there's no people around, this sunfish was apparently becoming depressed, like not eating. They couldn't think of what to do. So they just made a few cardboard cutouts of people and put the aquarium uniforms on them. And so the sunfish cheered up.
Good.
But
that's a good story.
I would hope that they're like moving the mannequins around a little bit because I feel like it's going to catch on.
Kevin McAllister out there.
Also, sunfish are the most insane looking fish.
He's a big boy.
They're big. They got an eye on different sides. They're sideways. Yeah. What is their purpose?
I guess we'll never know.
What's their deal?
Leave it in the comments below. Penguin love life exposed. Cheating common. Divorce rates soar after bad mating seasons. Male penguin going awooga at too many female penguins walking by.
Yeah, it's, I mean, we always, penguins, they mate for life. Yeah, turns out, not always.
Yeah. They just haven't got caught till all this monitoring that all the scientists have been doing. Scientists stay out.
Yeah, and this isn't new. There was that video like years and years ago of that penguin getting cucked. Mm-hmm. Like his wife penguin ditched him for a new penguin, and then
it's heartbreaking.
And then the ex-husband tried to like fight the new husband and got his ass beat, and it was
that's
just
the
real
second most sad video behind the guy slipping in oil and begging the person.
The video itself was it was sad, but then the reaction on Twitter, particularly Black Twitter, was very funny. I remember at the time.
Yeah.
People were talking about it as if it was like people
anthropomorphizing.
But I guess like
which is easy to do because March with the Penguins was a very big movie that had a big cultural impact.
Yeah, and I guess after a bad mating season, if there's not too many eggs, the wife is just like, what do I even keep you around here for?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go find a new.
Hey
man.
boys,
I deserve better.
Guess who's open for business?
Mm-hmm.
The United States of America.
And the girls, they do sometimes they don't say let's call it off. Sometimes they just go and try to get some on the side to keep things civil until the guy finds out. Then things blow up. It's crazy out there for penguins. Yeah.
Penguin.
We need a penguin reality show.
They probably tried to do one after that movie.
The Real Penguins of Antarctica.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it for this week's episode of Weekly Weird News, an extra long one for you. We'll be back next week. And please make sure that you like the video. Do it right now. I will wait here patiently. I have to catch a plane. Please like the video. Leave a comment about anything we talked about today. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're feeling like it and you're like, I missed the donation drive. Well, guess what? You can become a member of the channel. You can click the join button. You can click the thank button. You can do whatever you want. But click the like button. Watch our other videos that are popping up over here. We got a rundown of Trump's first week. We got some tech news. See those. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.